Great Zimbabwe. The name itself is pretty amazing, right? It means great houses of stone. But here's the crazy part. For almost 100 years, the real story of who built these incredible structures, well, it was basically forbidden. A heritage that was intentionally wiped clean.
So that's the big question we're tackling today. Why? Why would anyone want to suppress the history of a city this massive, this important? The answer, well, it's a wild ride. It's a story all about power, about prejudice, and ultimately about the struggle to get that stolen past back.
First things first, to really get why this was so controversial, you've got to picture this place. We are talking about these huge, sweeping stone walls. Some of them are 11 meters high. And get this, they were built without any mortar. The granite blocks were cut so perfectly, they just fit. This wasn't just a bunch of ruins. It was a bustling city, the capital of a whole kingdom. Just an absolute architectural masterpiece.
Okay, so the real mystery kicks off when outsiders show up. And to understand how they reacted, we have to look at it through this lens, something historians call the colonial gaze. So picture this. It's the late 1800s, and European hunters and explorers are wandering through the bush, and they just stumble upon this. They were completely floored. I mean, in their worldview, something this complex, this sophisticated, in the middle of Africa, it just didn't compute. It blew all their assumptions right out of the water.
And that shock, it pretty quickly turned into this really ugly, prejudiced belief. You see quotes like this one all the time from that era. The logic, and I'm using that term loosely, was basically, well, we don't think the local African people could have built this, so it must have been someone else. Simple as that, and totally completely flawed.
But this wasn't just some passing thought. Oh no, this denial led to something way more calculated. It led to the creation of a whole new, totally fake history for Great Zimbabwe. A completely manufactured myth. So if it wasn't the locals, who was it? Well, this is where the stories get imaginative. You hear theories about ancient Phoenicians sailing down from the Mediterranean, or maybe it was a palace for the Queen of Sheba straight out of the Bible. You see the pattern here, right? The one thing all these theories had in common was that the builders had to be from somewhere else, from a long time ago, and this is the key part, they couldn't be Black Africans. And this slide really lays it all out, the two competing stories. You've got the colonial myth on one side, which was super convenient for justifying their presence, right? And then you've got the archaeological reality, a powerful, homegrown African kingdom. So the big question is, how did science finally settle the debate? Yeah, the answer came down to good old-fashioned science. It was archaeologists doing the hard work on the ground who were willing to just follow the evidence wherever it led. And that's what blew the myths apart and brought the real story to light. And this timeline really puts things into perspective. Look at this. Construction starts around 1100 AD. That's not ancient biblical times, that's the medieval era, the same time you've got castles going up in Europe. The city was at its peak long before any Europeans showed up. And see that date, 1905? That's when the first real archaeologists got on site. And that was basically the beginning of the end for all those crazy theories.
And the evidence they found? Man, it was just a slam dunk. It wasn't just one thing, it was everything. The way the stones were worked is a style you only find right there in that region. Every single artifact they dug up, pottery, tools, you name it, was from the local culture. Carbon dating nailed the time period. And maybe the biggest smoking gun. They found absolutely zero, not one single piece of evidence that linked the site to the Phoenicians, the Queen of Sheba, or any other outside group. Nothing.
So where did all the evidence point? To one group and one group only. The ancestors of today's Shona people. They were the ones who built it. They were the ones who ruled it. This was their city, the capital of their massive trading empire that dealt in gold and ivory. Case closed. But here's the thing. Just because science proved the case, it doesn't mean the story was over. Not by a long shot. Knowing the truth is one thing. Getting the powers that be to admit it is another. And this fight over history became a huge part of the fight for freedom.
And that brings us to this date, 1965. This is super important. Back then, the country was called Rhodesia, and it was controlled by a white minority government. In '65, that government basically broke away from Britain so they could keep their system in place. And what's one of the first things they did? They took that old colonial myth and made it official government policy. I'm serious. They rewrote the guidebooks you'd get at the site. They changed the museum exhibits. And any archaeologist who dared to say, hey, the evidence shows Africans built this, they were shut down, censored, some were even kicked out of the country. This is the moment when the heritage literally became forbidden. But then came 1980, and with independence, everything changed. The new country took its name from these very ruins. It became Zimbabwe. And today, Great Zimbabwe is this incredible source of national pride. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it stands as this powerful reminder of the nation's incredible history and its ability to endure.
So we're left with this thought. What happens when a people reclaims their history? Great Zimbabwe is so much more than a pile of amazing old rocks. It's proof of an incredible African civilization. It's a chilling case study in how history can be twisted and used as a weapon. But more than anything, it's this amazing, inspiring example of what it means for a people to finally get to reclaim and tell their own story.